What's up, everyone? Welcome to day 5 of the Dreamstar Grand Prix review series. I am your host, as always, Scott Edwards, and I am excited to talk about another day of tournament action here for Marigold. This show was at the Sendai Pit, not my favorite venue in the world by any means, but it is a fun show overall with a stunner in the main event that I'm really looking forward to talking to. As always, we'll go through each and every match before getting to the match ratings, which I missed last show as it went about an hour. So we were trying to wrap that up. But this is the first of 3 shows this weekend. We'll have one on Sunday as well once the Morioka show is uploaded. And then, of course, Monday for the second Korakuen Hall show as we head into the finals next Saturday in Nagoya. Before we get to it, I ask you to please leave a like, leave a comment. What was your favorite match from the show? How do you feel about Kouki Amarei's performance? And anything else you may want to include. Also, press subscribe because obviously that's very appreciated. It goes a long way, but those comments and likes especially helps with the algorithm and all that. So let's get to it as we do here on this show. Lots to talk about, starting with Nagisa Nozaki versus Chika Goto. A expected opener, right? I didn't expect Chika Goto to have to have her big win here. I just didn't see it being the reasonable spot to do it. While beating Nozaki is an accomplishment just based on the way her tournament's going, I feel like we might be saving it to maybe slow down Kouki Amarei at the Korakuen Hall show. I think that would be a hell of a big surprise win for her. This was, kind of the usual Nozaki performances that I think we've become accustomed to in Marigold because, it's a Sendai Pit first tournament match. I don't need her to go all out. She wins with a kick as she often does. A fine match. I think the weakest on the show overall, but ultimately it got the job done. I thought Nozaki's offense for when she was putting in offense looked good, but overall it was a fine match. A fine match here. Then we had Miku Aono versus Kizuna Tanaka. I think this match definitely brought us up a step. Obviously, we have the United National Champion on one side, someone in Kizuna Tanaka who I think will hold that title somewhere down the line. I think Kazuna has slowly gotten better and better as this tournament has gone on. When it comes to singles performances, I don't know necessarily if I expect her to have like these big breakout matches because again, she's still so young. Why would she have the matches that, necessarily are unbelievable type matches at this point? I just don't know if I think she's more consistent than like the other undercard wrestlers like a CHIAKI or even a Yuzuki at times, but even so, I don't know if she has that high level yet, but this was a good match. Miku Aono unsurprisingly getting the win. That's kind of what you would expect. This is the win to keep Aono in the tournament. And I think that's the most interesting part of this show is how all the math is now breaking down, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But like I said, a good match for Kizuna, who continues to put on some consistent performances. I'm looking forward to how she looks post term, and I think that's when she might start to, get more into the groove of things. But overall, just continued success for her in terms of improvement. And now I think we kick into pretty much the bigger part of the show. I was very interested to see what Nanae Takahashi versus CHIAKI would look like. One, because I think CHIAKI in her first passion injection match with Nanae didn't hit the level I was hoping for, and I thought this match was a lot better. CHIAKI came out of the blocks hot. She beat up Nanae before Nanae even took her jacket off. She had the crowd booing. And I think overall for this show, I do have to say this, for the Sendai Pit, this was a pretty well sounded show, all things considered, for what I expect the Sendai Pit to sound like. Crowds there just aren't loud at all. But ultimately, I thought this did a fine enough job to get us there. And I think when you watch Nanae, she just brings out, I think, the best in everyone she faces. I don't want to say brings out the passion, which she does, of course, but I do think she brings the best out. I think when people get in there in the ring with Nanae, they want to wrestle their best match. And I thought for CHIAKI, this was another really solid showing. She's learning more and more how to be that heel, right? At one point, she did have the referee down. She hit Nanae with the chair shot, which I thought was a good spot before she ultimately lost the match. She did end up coming short in the end on a Northern Lights bomb, which looked pretty nasty with Nanae getting the win. Again, an expected finish, right? Nanae leading the Star League with I think she has 8 points now. I believe she's 4-1-0. So very important heading into these last big matches for Nanae. Obviously, she's got Sareee still to come, as well as Miku Aono. I'm sure she's dropping one of those at least, but we'll see. She is right now the favorite, I think, to take the Star League. I do think she has a chance to beat Sari on Monday and get herself a world title match. I've been kind of confident with that one, but the way it's breaking down, it's coming close unless she is just winning her block face and then facing a MIRAI or some sorts in the final, which I could see as a possibility as well. And then we had Star League, the final Star League matchup of the night, which was Sari versus Misa Matsui. I mean, I don't know what else I can say at this point about Sari that I haven't said before, but just what an incredible competitor. What an incredible wrestler. She is on another level, I think, when she is wrestling these matches in Marigold. And when I say that, it's because she is telling a story within every single one of her matches. Her confidence is through the roof, and you see that on her face as the matches go on. And we know that the roster has taken exception to her calling herself the ace and being their first world champion. And Misa Matsui has been one of those people that have taken exception. And this was a great underdog performance from Matsui. I think the only Matsui performances I've seen better in terms of just her overall performance were the Nanae matches, because this was really, really good. I'd probably give the main event the slight edge as the match of the night, but in terms of ratings, they're right there. I just think this really showcased the brilliance of Misa Matsui and what she's able to create as an offensive wrestler. She didn't back down to Sareee, and that's something that I think stood out for me about Misa Matsui. While Sareee can have matches with the Miku Aonos and all these other great wrestlers, I think what Misa Matsui does better than most of the wrestlers so far that have wrestled Sareee is she wasn't backing down. And I think that's kind of following in Miku Aono's footsteps from the previous match. Yeah, she's gonna get hit. Yeah, she's gonna get hit a lot, but she's going to fight back. She's going to show some great offense along the way. This match was really, really good. Obviously, in the end, Sareee won. That was not a surprise at all. But considering the amount of offense that Matsui got in here, at one point they did trade off the double foot stomps, which I thought was a lot of fun. But when Sareee hit that drop kick on the bottom rope, whew, Matsui's head, snapped essentially off that rope. That was nasty. But overall, I thought this was really, really good. Just the continuation of Sari having a dominant tournament, both in terms of in-ring quality as well as overall performance. She moves to 3-0-1 to 7 points, and she is well in position to potentially win her block, as she has confidently said as the tournament goes on. She again wrestles on Saturday against Kizuna Tanaka. Like I said, that show will be up on Sunday, so I'll be able to get the review up there. And then, of course, Monday against Nanae Takahashi, a match that I think could be the match of the tournament. And then the final day against Bozilla. So we'll see how Sareee closes out here. Misa Matsui still looking for that win. At one point in this, she had such an incredible near fall on her roll-up bridge pin that she does that I popped out of my chair. It was super well done. Super good match. Well worth checking out from this show. Then we had Utami Hayashishita versus Natsumi Showzuki. I viewed this match going in as potentially one of the underappreciated potential matches of the tournament. And ultimately, I think it missed the mark for me. I don't think it was bad by any sorts. I thought Showzuki especially had a great showing, but I've expected Utami to have a number of breakout or top tier performances. And while I think her Mirai match was the closest to that, I still haven't got that conversation starter for match of the tournament for me. I think Utami's just missing that level so far. While this had really good work, Suzuki was going, the speed was on, the strikes were on, the double knees back and forth. Like Utami was, Utami's played a great base in this match for wrestlers, I think, to look great. And then she essentially wins, or of course loses to say Mirai. But this match kind of just ended to me. Like she hit the suplex, the German suplex, and just pinned her. And I was like, oh, it's over. Like everything was good. The work was really, really good. Of course the work was really, really good. Why wouldn't the work be really, really good? But at the same time, I thought they could have had the match of the night just because I know what these two are capable of. I've been watching these two closely to the point where I know that they could put on the match of the night. And while I don't think they got there, and I think they were outshined by the match before it and match after, it was still a good match. Like, of course, it was a good match. These two are going to take a lot to have a bad match. But I do wish that it got to the level I know these two can. And, maybe we're saving some in the tank. I think these two are far from done facing off in the ring, but it did end very suddenly. I think that's what hurt it most for me. I just wanted a little bit more of the desperation in the end. But a good semi main event, another good Utami match, another good Suzuki match, just not to the level I believe that they can get to. And then your main event. Listen, Mirai has been in all accounts, the true ace of this company. You can call Utami the ace, and rightfully so. In terms of company positioning and what Utami is here for, she is here to be the ace. But when it comes down to performances of people on this roster, it's been Mariah, and she is pushed into this match against Kouki Amarei. What can you bring to the table, Kouki? And ultimately, in the end, Kouki brought the best match, the best performance of her career, in my opinion. This was a match of chops and boots to the face. That's what this matchup was. Whether it was in the ring, outside the ring, that's what this was. Mirai brought the chops, Kouki brought the big boots, and they exchanged and exchanged and exchanged. It was physical. It was nothing I think I expected heading into this, but it really worked to Kouki's favor. This was a match that they set out to make to put Kouki over. Ultimately, in the end, Kouki won, so obviously she did get over. But this was a match she looked like a star. She felt like the star I think a lot of people believe she can be, right? She hit those big boots. And I think ultimately, like, that has been her best move since joining. She didn't go for the butterfly. She did hit a backdrop driver, but she didn't go for the butterfly. She ultimately won with a big boot, which I thought was a great surprise finish. Mariah was shocked. Mariah was kind of rolling her way into the Dream League final. It felt like after the win to Utami. So this shortcoming now sets up Kouki to be in contention here on that final night, and it really sets Mariah back, right? Mariah now has to go into each match, and I think ultimately perform. Like she doesn't have an easy path there by any means. At Morioka, she faces Victoria Yuzuki. She should get the win there. And then she faces Natsumi Showzuki the day after. And then on the final day, she faces Nagisa Nozaki. It's going to be tough for Mariah to get there. I do think she might have one loss coming. It could be against the Showzuki, maybe at Korakuen. But right now, she's still my finals pick. But my goodness, Kouki Amarei is climbing, and this is what you want to see in her tournament, right? She hasn't had a bad performance. I think up until this point, I haven't been blown away by any performances, but they've been consistent. They've been good, and that's what you want to see out of her, considering her experience level and where they want her to go. And this match was her best performance yet. I thought Mirai was a killer again. Like, Mirai has been the best wrestler in Marigold, not named Sari. I think, since the start of all this. I just think her consistency, her ability to shine match to match, and really have a different match every time out, right? She has the great Nori match at the beginning of this tournament. She has the great Utami slugfest at Cork, and she now has this one against Kouki Amarei, something I don't think anyone was expecting necessarily. Mariah's only had good to great performances, and it continued here with this match. A great main event, well worth checking out, as Kouki Amarei gets the win and essentially sets up a twin star tag title match, which was hinted at prior to the tournament. I think the twin towers of Kouki and Chika Goto could be well on their way to potentially winning those titles for Mariah and Mai Sakurai. But I'm really looking forward to that match. But this was great, and this ultimately was a really good end to the show. Kouki getting the big win got a good reaction, and ultimately you're building her up for success. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. And let's look at the standings here now. Let me get them up for you, as we often do here. So as you can see, the records are as followed. Let me shut that down. So Nori still leads the the Dream League. I do it every time. Dream League block with 8 points. But as you can see here, both Utami and Kouki Amarei are right behind at 6 points. Mariah at 5. Natsumi Showzuki at 3. Nagisa Nozaki at 3. Sorry, that math did not work. My apologies. 1 second. That should be 5. My apologies. She is at 5 points. I knew the math wasn't working. So as you can see, it's adding up here. And it's really coming down to being a big time tournament. Yeah, Goto and Yuzuki are out of it. I don't Did Yuzuki get a win and I'm missing it? Hold on. I'm pausing now because now I'm looking at my stat sheet here. Am I off? Is my brain melted? Oh yeah, she'd be Chika Goto. Obviously, that's my bad. So that's how the Dream League is breaking down. I think going to the final day with Nori, Utami, Kouki, Mirai, Nozaki, even to an extent, all in it in some form is very exciting. So we'll wait and see how that all breaks down here. And then on the Star League side, we have Nanae Takahashi at 8 points at 4-1. Obviously, she still has both champions to go through in the final 2 matches of her tournament. Miku Aono and Sari tied at 7. Bozilla at 6, as well as Mai Sakurai at 6. Mai Sakurai is in a great spot, though. And then CHIAKI at 2, Kizuna at 0, and Misa Matsui at 0. Let's look at the match ratings real quick before we get out of here. We're going to have quicker reviews this time around because they're just shorter shows, and that's how it goes. But as you can see here, my MVP so far for the Dream League is easily Mariah right now, though Nori is right behind, Utami's right behind, but Mariah has been cruising. Her and Sari are my clear MVPs, with Nanae, Takahashi, and Nori right behind. I just think they've all had such incredible tournaments, which I'm really enjoying. So those are your MVPs so far. These are your match ratings. You can just look at the most recent. Really good matches all around. I'm absolutely loving this tournament. I'm looking forward to the final couple days here. But thank you everyone for listening. As always, I appreciate it. It's greatly appreciated. Love talking the Dream Star. I'll be back, like I said, on Sunday with a day 6 review. Just 6. I believe that's just 4 matches, and then a big time review on Monday with another Cork and Hall show before we head into the finals on Saturday. So thank you everyone for listening. Like I said at the beginning of the show, please press like, subscribe, make sure to leave a comment. What was your favorite match of the show? How do you feel about Kouki Amarei's performance? And so on. Who's your MVP as well? Who's your MVP so far? And who do you think is winning the Dream Star Grand Prix? Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, so long, everybody.